Hey, what's up, everyone? How are you guys doing today? Brandon Berkmeyer here from Brands on Brands on Brands. Checking in with you guys, hoping you're doing well. I've got Instagram live down here, I've got Facebook and YouTube live up here. Just thought I'd check in with you guys and talk to you about a little chat I had today that I thought you might find useful. So, I was talking to a podcaster who had just started their show not too long ago, and is thinking about the idea of personal branding. And as you guys know, like that's what I've been focusing on for the past 2 years is personal branding. And I've leaned into podcasting as my engine of creating content and finding my voice. And when I meet other people who've done the same thing, it excites me, and I'd like to figure out where they are with their journey. And I think the first question that tends to come up is, well, I've now created this thing. I've started producing content and sharing it. And what now? How do I get people to listen to it? And I have lots of questions about marketing and media and social media. And what comes to mind for me is that it actually becomes a big time suck to figure out how to promote your show, how to get people to listen, how to find people. And I think there's a better way to do that when you're starting, when you're just getting going. And before I mention that, I do want to say that my next episode comes out tomorrow, episode 126 of the Brands on Brands on Brands podcast. It's called Creating Pillar Content That You Can Repurpose. So if you get a chance, tune into that. Go to brandsonbrands.com if you haven't listened to the show before and you want to find where to listen, you can do that. Episode 126 is there for you to listen to. But back to this idea of what you could do when you're getting started and you already have a show, you've started this journey. And I think the first thing you should really figure out is not how do you grow your audience, but how do you grow your network? How do you grow the people that are exposed to you? How do you grow your relationships? And that's where I started. That's where I think a lot of people should start. And one great place to do that is to first look at your guest list. Look at the people that you are meeting to interview, that you are bringing on your show, and say, okay, how do I continue my relationship with these people? How do I increase my engagement? How do I change the relationship to go from just an acquaintance to someone who I'm invested in and they are invested in me? So whether that means that you are showing up and commenting on their posts, or that you're joining their Facebook groups, or that you, when they're on a live, you are participating and saying something in the comments, you're welcome to do that here. Hit like and say hello. Whether you're doing that, or whether they have some kind of event or a product that you can participate in. I like to set a cap. So for me, it's anything less than say $5,000 or $2,000 is the max I would spend to really get in a room with these people. And guess what? When you're getting in the room with these people that already have met you, you're also getting a room with the people that are around them, that look up to them, and they know you now, so they can introduce you and say, hey, what's up? This is Brandon. I met them because they have this show, and they might even tell your story for you. The point is to show up. Show up in more places and let people know what you do. Hi, I'm Brandon. I work on personal brands. That's how you show up. So work on your relationship with your guests and take it a step further is what I would say is the first step. The second is, if you're someone out there who's a podcaster or you have a brand, is to figure out what other communities you can show up in. And say those same guests have communities online. If you show up in those communities, they might shout you out. Or you can ask, hey, I'd love to talk to some of your community. Can I do that? Or just interact. And a lot of the time they will shout you out, say, hey, what's up? This is, that's Brandon that said hello, and that's, you should meet them because of this. I just literally, after my phone call, jumped onto a live, and one of my great guests, his name's Neil Schaefer, was doing an interview with someone else. And I said, what's up? Good to see you guys. This is a great chat. And he shouted me out onto someone else's interview. He shouted me out. So those people may look me up. I didn't think about it like this, but you can. You can think not just what can I get out of it, but how do you just show up in the lives of the people you run into and that you meet? Because those people become your audience. You have to like them first. You have to invest in them first for them to invest back in you. That's how you build an audience in a community, one by one person at a time. Next thing you do is you can say, okay, well, how do I continue to grow that list? Well, have you outlined your Dream 100 yet? The group of influencers you want to meet, the people that maybe you want on your show, but just maybe that are people that influence the audience that you want for your show. How do you become those people's in those people's worlds? How do you get to know them? How do you become their friends? So that when someone asks about a certain topic, maybe they think of you as someone they suggest or that they advocate for. That is part of the process. Don't just think, how do I build an audience through marketing? Marketing is not going to work for you when you're that new. You need to build your influence through your networking and through the people you meet. So build that Dream 100 influencer list. Start to build relationships one by one and show up like I mentioned in the last couple points. Next is have an event list. Yes, try to attend events that your friends and your influencers are at, but also build an event list that you can decide that you want to show up for the year. Make a budget for it and say, okay, I'm going to go to this event. I want to meet these people, not just anyone, but yes, also the audience and all that, but find people that you want to meet and say, I'm going to have a plan to deliberately interact with these people, not just at the event, but also before the event. Say, hey, who's going to this event? Or hey, I saw that you're speaking at this event. Would love to shake your hand. Build an event list and then build your networking plan beyond that event list. These are all great ways for you to build an audience that will support you and your show. The next one is to, obviously Facebook groups is probably a lot that you guys thought about before. But what I say is find the Facebook groups that make sense for you, but then don't go in and do what people say, which is just answer everyone's question. I think that's been done, or that's being done. I'd say go in, look at the people that are interacting and answering questions, and see if you want to, if there's anything that you can create a dialogue around with those people. You could say, if someone gives a piece of advice, you could say, that's a great piece of advice. And they might be curious who you are and look you up. Or if they tell you something, you'd be like, I just tried that and it worked. Thanks for the advice. Whatever the thing is, become known as someone who interacts as opposed to someone who pontificates, because it's going to start to seem like you're just looking out for you. And then lastly, I'd say find ways to connect. Find ways to get onto calls with people to build connections. And it doesn't just have to be interviews. It could just be people in the group. You're like, hey, actually, I know a lot about that. If you want to chat about it, I'm happy to give you some advice or tell you what I did or interact. And that's a great way to build a connection with one person at a time. And guess what? Those people that you help and you affect start telling their friends about it. And those friends maybe connect with you. And then after you end those connection calls, reach out to them on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and say, hey, great chat, nice meeting you. And guess what? Now you have a new follower that maybe will also share your content with other people. Point is, if you change your mindset from how do I market myself to become larger, to have more following, and if you change your mindset from that to how do I show up in more places to meet more people and serve and show up, all you have to do is say, where am I going to go? Where am I going to let people know that, hey, I'm Brandon, I work on personal branding. And then once you introduce yourself to those people, how do you make yourself available to form new relationships? And if you do that, along the way, you're going to find people who you can help and say, I could love to help you with that, even if it's not exactly something you sell. The more people you serve and the more times you think, I'm ready to help people with this thing, the quicker you're going to build a business that serves your audience, and the bigger your audience is going to grow. And guess what? You might just have a little extra money in your pocket too that you can then use at some point to market to your audience. That's what I wanted to chat with you guys about today, because it just was all clicking and coming together today. And again, I have a new episode coming out tomorrow about creating pillar content, which is an engine for you to come up with ideas and share, and then do the social media stuff that I'm talking about. But I actually wanted to give you the opposite perspective on that today. I hope you guys enjoy that. And also, if you haven't checked out last week's episode from my interview with Zach Benson, the founder of Assistagram, who helps blow up people's businesses via Instagram followings and subscribers, you can check that out. But really what the message that was there was, if you get out and find ways to connect with people and leverage networks and audiences and influence to build your reputation, you're going to be better for it. And he uses it now to travel the world for free because he finds ways to help people and serve people and finds the win-win in any scenario. So that was a great episode. That was episode 125. Tomorrow is episode 126. So check that out, brandsonbrands.com/125. And then tomorrow will be available 126. Check those episodes out. And as always, if you guys are looking for someone to work with, this is what I do. I help people with their personal brands, whether it's you trying to figure out how to create better content that really hones your message, Or how do you take that next step to building your personal brand, to building your offerings, your products, the ways you help people to figure that out? And then how do you build a community around that? Let's chat. I want to work with more people like you. I work one-on-one. We can find a few hours a month to work together and build towards a longer term goal that you have to continue to influence your brand. And guess what? That means you have access to my network as well. You have access to any knowledge that I have in the marketing space that I've been doing this a long time in, over 20 years, in fact. And just imagine having a marketing guy in your pocket to talk to each week and ask any questions you want. That's what I'm here for, your personal branding coach. So if that's interesting to you, just reach out. Shoot me a DM, a direct message on any of my social platforms, and I'm happy to connect, set up a call and see if there's something we can do together. Even if it's just one call to get over a question you have, happy to do that for free. Reach out. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Brands on Brands on Brands. Hope you guys are listening. Hope you guys are getting value, and I will catch you guys next time.